Bonjour et bienvenue. Welcome everybody for the French lesson. I am with the Virtus Pro players. How are you doing, guys?
Good.
Are you ready for some French lesson?
Yeah.
Okay, so Are you ready for some French lesson?
Yeah.
Okay, so the game is kind of easy. Okay, so the game is kind of easy. You have some sentence here, you kind of know the sentence in English, of course, and I'm gonna tell you some sentence in French. You have to repeat it the most perfectly you can, and then you have to choose what did you just say in French, because we are here at EWC Paris. Okay, so here we go for the first. Retour au lobby.
Au retour.
Yes.
Au lobby.
Perfect. You did well. No, perfect, you did well. Okay, which one it is?
It's obvious this one.
Yeah, obviously, it was the easiest one. I'm a cool professor, of course. Il y a un ennemi derrière le rocher.
Derrière
Your turn. Il y a un ennemi derrière le rocher.
le rocher.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's good. You have a 10 on 10. Which one it is?
Has to be the top one.
You think
Maybe
it's the
this
top one?
Yeah.
This or this, I don't know.
Yeah, you have to guess. Make a guess.
50-50.
You go for this one?
This one.
Indeed, there is an enemy behind the rock. On a chaté avec la zone. On a chaté avec la zone. On a chaté avec la zone. Which one it is?
Snake in the field.
One of these two. It's 50-50.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. You take this one?
Yeah.
Top right?
Yeah.
And yes, it is.
Yeah.
So basically, I said we get really lucky with the zone, but in
Yeah.
French, what I just said. Il y a, it's always there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Il y a un serpent.
Serpent.
Oh, nice, that is good. Dans l'herbe.
Dans l'herbe.
Yeah, il y a un serpent dans l'herbe.
Il y a un serpent
Dans l'herbe.
dans l'herbe.
Okay, which one it is?
This one, no?
It's not this one. You know why? Because I didn't
Oh,
say.
it's this one.
Yeah, because which word is for snake? Serpent.
Yeah.
Victoire.
Victoire.
Poulet au dîner.
Poulet au dîner.
Exactly what it is.
This one.
Yeah. Basically, I say victory, chicken for dinner. Poulet is chicken, dîner is dinner. You guys are doing pretty good. And now, the most important part. I hope you will not choke it because there is so many possibilities right now. So which one it is? Which sentence you gonna guess? Il y a un ennemi derrière l'arbre.
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 You did it well. What is your guess?
This one.
Oh, no, it's not this one. You have a second guess if you want.
In the middle.
Oh, in the middle, you think? Oh, nice call. Indeed, there is an enemy behind the tree. Il y a un ennemi derrière l'arbre. Mesdames et messieurs, c'était votre leçon de français. Ladies and gentlemen, it was your lesson on French. Congratulations. You actually won the beret, guys. This is for you. You don't have to. Yeah. Perfect. Bienvenue et bonne chance pour la compétition. Goodbye, guys. Au revoir.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Je suis prêt, c'est parti, voir on m'emmène la vie. Comme sur mon green, tu m'entends quand je respire. Top le veston, jamais film, gros pas, big plan, j'ai fait changer toute la piste. Regarde ma pêche, je sais pas, j'attire. Je coupe la line, laisse la qui laisse frémir. Nouvelle état, new name, toujours fluide dans le move. Main en l'air quand je rentre dans le groove. Garde ce regard, je suis déjà posé. De part je tourne, glace dans mes yeux figés. Vite encore, puis je prends tout ce qui est à moi. Trop vite, trop fort.
Welcome back to PUBG Battlegrounds at EWC 26. I'm the 7WG, and today we're going to be doing something that a lot of these teams have to do if they want to become champions, and that is climb to the top. And now that I see it, that is going to be quite a feat because, my goodness, I need to start working out. What am I doing with my life? For these teams, it won't be easy. They will have to go through hardships. They will have to go through bad rotations at times, even unlucky stuff. But they just have to keep going to make it to the top. Sometimes instead of taking the easy road, you have to take the hard path. Sometimes these teams might want to take a match off and just rest a little bit. But if you want to reach the top, you got to stay consistent. And by putting in all that hard work and going through adversity, they'll be able to reach the top. And it's time we start that journey to see which team is gonna end up making it to the top and become champions of PUBG Battlegrounds at EWC 26. If this location looks familiar, it's because it was in a part of the movie called Inception. But I'm joined by none other than Godspeed and Toffees, the 7WG. As you can see, we're outside. We can feel the wind on our hair.
Why did you laugh, by the way? When you...
Oh, yeah, we can definitely feel that wind.
Listen. Okay, today in makeup, they're like, oh, what do you... I was like, you know what, let's try to keep it natural, not too much product. That was a big mistake. Obviously, as you can see, it's windy.
Toffees, how are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm glad you said it to me right. I thought the Inception bridge was because it was a train bridge on a car bridge over a boat crossing, but you meant movie. That makes way more sense.
You lost me.
Inception is like a thing within a thing within a thing.
Yeah, am I sleeping right now? What's going on? But something that is going to be happening here on the finals is that we do have a new format, especially when we end up going towards the final day. So why not? Let's send it over to the Ginger Hulk to explain Smash Rule.
Yeah, we're going to smash everything down here for the next 3 days, of course. As we have tried to do this in the past. I'm joined by Paper Thin as well to get everything kind of explained for you. But now, officially, we are actually going to be doing the Smash Roll. So tell me about it.
Yeah, okay, so the first 2 days are just going to be normal. We have 6 games per day. You try to accumulate as many points as possible. It's after the second day where things get interesting. So whoever has the top amount of points, it doesn't matter what team it is. Let's say it's 100 points that the top team has, right? That means that we set a point threshold at 10 plus whatever that final score is. So if it's 100 points, it's 110 points going into the second day. So that threshold is what you have to meet to get the win. Now, you have to also get a chicken dinner to win. Now, the caveat here is that you have to get the point threshold in a game and then get a win after that. Yeah. Right. So you can't just like be the top team, win the first game of the day and win. That's not possible. You have to get above that point threshold and then go through and win. Well, I guess you could do it, but it's not super likely.
And if there is no Smash during those 6 games, at the end of those 6 games on day number 3, then it's the normal leaderboard. Whoever is able to be at the top there will be the winner. And there's some dynamics to this, right? Of course, with the Smash rule, technically, if someone does breach that, other teams might be looking for other teams to make sure that they don't actually make that Smash occur. But that said, a lot of these players, I think they're just going to stick to their own game and see how it goes. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think there might be a few instances of, oops, we can't let that team win. We have to go and target them in like late game situations or something like that. But I think overall it's going to be pretty stock standard to start. And then once things kind of start to boil down and simmer at the end of these games, that's where you might see some teams be like, ooh, we can't let, XYZ team win because they're gonna win the championship if we let it through.
I like these headphones. I might steal them from Matchroom and castigate. No, I'm joking. All right, we're gonna head over to the STC Rewind with the boys here to tell you everything about the things that happened last time.
Hello, it's Avenger here with Matchroom. We're here with STC Rewind to talk about what happened in the 3 days of groups and what happened especially yesterday. So we had 16 teams advance to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely nuts. Whenever we look at it, there was so many twists and turns and how we kind of ended up everything. I mean, the last game came down to somebody that's just kind of swimming in the ocean, trying to qualify last second, and got denied. But for me, it's the standout squads. We've got teams like Twisted Minds, champion from last year, had to play with their coach, subbing in and playing. The Tab played great, had a phenomenal run, and then they bring back in Lou, and then what happens?
I think the big thing is we need as many games as possible on Lou for him to get ready for the finals, right? Because sure, the Tab did well. They played differently to what we normally see, and we could hear it in the interview with Batunas as well. They're surprised, so, and happy, of course, to have that many points. And we already kind of above that kind of cutoff. Then you can play whatever you like, and maybe they had to try some things as well. But my biggest surprise, Matrim, and honestly, was a big one. 8 of the teams we sent home, half of them from China. We talked about the Chinese superpower coming in, and it's just 17 gaming left in the finals.
I mean, a little bit of defense for JD Gaming. They got close, and then they were kind of gate kept out. Team Liquid playing the villain role, really stepping into it, trying to make sure that they can secure better drop spots for themselves. Most notably, that North George situation that they've been having to contest in has just been being a problem. So instead, kind of deny the problem. If it presents itself and the opportunity is there, take it. And we've talked about that for years. It's great to see Team Liquid really step into and get that, because when we look at Team Liquid on the club championship, it's getting pretty dicey right now. They may need those points.
Absolutely. And we also have to talk about Myth and T1 that did absolutely amazing. They beat last year's record of most points in the group, especially with Myth fragging out Kiss. What a standout player so far this year and here at Esports World Cup.
I mean, Kiss is playing great, but Heather's just been popping people, dude. He's been ruining squads. Like, that thing he did with the BRDM onto Falcons was just nasty, and what ended up happening to him was crazy. Other side of that, though, Shadow. Dark Horse coming in, barely squeaking in last second, as they didn't even get a play on the last day of the group stage. They just had to sit back and watch, and in that last game where it was everybody striving to get those couple of points to qualify, they squeak it through.
I would have loved to have a camera on those guys on that last game. They must have been nervous, honestly. But again, lovely to see them in here. We have some big favorites. AGL is also in here. Full Sense, our PGC champions from last year, could come in and make waves here. But so far, yeah, it's just been a big story of, you know, Twisted, Falcons, Myth, and now T1. And I was most impressed with T1. I feel like they actually have a chance at this one.
There's so much going on at this event. It is just going to be 3 more days of action. We've gotten into the finals, 2 days of that before we hit the full grand finals, and it is going to be absolutely nuts. 8 keys have been crushed, but 15 dreams can still also be denied, as there can only be one winner, and we've got 3 days to figure it out.
Thank you guys for that recap, as we have just been enjoying this beautiful weather here in Paris. And you know what, Toffees, let me just use your knee real quick. By the way, if you are tuning in to the live stream, make sure you use that hashtag EWC. Take a quick screenshot. Thank you. Now use that hashtag EWC, hashtag EWC26. But as we heard them talk, I mean, there's some teams that definitely ended up performing that we'll get a chance to talk about them. One team especially that performed yesterday really well was T1. We saw Heather being able to pop off. And then on the flip side, we saw Twisted Minds slow down in a big, big way, even though their player finally arrived, Godspeed.
Yeah, I mean, Shrimsy said it himself. He said, maybe you guys should just kind of put the Tab back in, because Lou didn't really get to do much. In fact, he just swam basically all day. So I think, again, coming into the finals, I think it's great that Lou was actually able to be here. It sucks when you're not able to play with your full roster. So I expect, you know, we did talk about it, Steve. They probably start slow. Yeah. They didn't start too slow in groups. We'll see if they start slow in the finals.
And as we see them right now in 4th place on the overalls, they ended up with a solid 92 points. Navi, though, Navi was pretty consistent on both days.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like, I thought this year was going to be kind of Navi slowly taking the torch from Twisted Minds, potentially. That sort of 93, 92 maybe implies that Navi's stepping up. But again, Lou showed up late. I expect him to be back up and running probably by today, if not by tomorrow. They look good. I also loved the fact that, like, T1 was doing so well, like you said, up there in second.
Yeah, that squad, Heather, and then after that, it was other players also being able to step it out. We'll get a chance to talk about players, because definitely we have to highlight some outstanding plays. But from all those squads too, we got to talk about Falcons, because Falcons, remember, they started off slow. Then on the final match that they had of the second day, they were able to kind of just relieve some pressure off their shoulders.
I mean, how long have we watched the Falcons? This is kind of what happens. They either have a stellar start or they kind of struggle a little bit, and then they eventually get their footing, though. That's the thing about the Falcons. They'll always get their footing, and this time it was just at the right time where they can skyrocket their points.
A Falcon's a big bird. It takes time to gather momentum. You also heard in that interview before the show started, Shrimsy saying they're struggling with kind of the chaos of PUBG right now. And I do think that means that sometimes it takes them a day or two to get their head in the right space for this level of competition. So I expect them to maybe start slow on game 1 or 2, but get rolling pretty quickly.
For that squad, I'm going to be looking forward to Tig just performing. And I'm not going to be putting Falcons as my predictions. But talking about predictions, I think Kalari's got some predictions.
Oh, yeah, we do. We've got loads. For the EWC Play app as well, you can go over there and fill in who you think is going to be top 5 for every single game, and that will contribute towards your points to get yourself some good prizes. There's $300,000 on the line, so you've got an opportunity at some of that as well. Talking to you, Paper Thin, about this, who are your predictions here? For the 3 days, who do you think is going to do it? Who's going to take it all? Where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious that Myth looks like the best team in the world right now. They've got multiple PGS wins this year. The way they're playing, there seems to be very little flaw in their game. So I think that's an easy pick, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. For me, for my money, looking at second place, T1, it's an interesting notion that we see here, and I would absolutely put them on some of my predictions because they're in a situation where I think if they'd have peaked and had all of these second places at any other time when Myth hadn't looked as insane as they do right now, T1 could have probably won 2 or 3 championships here or there. But unfortunately, it's not quite gone their way. Second place again in groups 2, Myth. You've got to get this monkey off your back somehow.
Yeah, and Heather needs to keep playing the way he's been playing. Like, he has been such an instrumental part of that. The other teams I want to look at are probably like 3 of the big EMEA powerhouse teams, Twisted Minds, Na'Vi, Virtus Pro, all very capable. I know it pains me to say it, but all very capable of winning a tournament. So I think if you've got those 3, any of those 3 in there, you're doing just fine.
No Falcons?
Okay, well, you know, everybody's going to go for Falcons. I want to go a little bit off script. We know the Falcons are good. It's fine.
All right, well, we're done here. It's time to get everything rolling here as we move on here for more EWC.
Thank you so much, Kalaris and Paper Thing, as we're still out here. And now we got somebody new with us, none other than Lace. Thanks, Lace, for joining us. We've been talking about the Sony stories of the day, and I feel like coming into this first day of the finals, the Sony story of the day has to be Myth, that was able to perform so great on their first day, and also T1, because T1 showed up big time yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Myth's just come out of winning the PGS Circuit 2. And that was only a couple of weeks ago. And then their first year at EWC to hit the triple digits in our group stages and ultimately have triumphed over several regions and also teams. You know, Jacob's leadership along with Kiss's sort of firepower going through that is required. But look, honestly, I'm going to say they might even be our next EWC champions here today. But let me tell you what differs to them to T1. So, for example, their conversion in high eliminations to wins is about 51 points from their placement, and their total KP was 68. So whilst T1 had placement points of 33 with 77 eliminations. So although, you know, those stats on the group stages, T1 was just trickling behind them in overall points, Myth's conversion rate to wins is mountains above T1, and that's exactly what you'll need for the Smash rule.
I agree with that. I do think there's something to be said for T1's kill rate, however, because I do think one of the trouble or the challenges our players are facing in the current meta is how fast it shifts and changes. And you can't always guarantee that placement equals perfection, right? 17, who starts middle all the time, really struggled to find those points the last 2 days. So I do think there's something to be said for T1's ability to find frags when there's nothing else to be found. Maybe they're one counter to Myth's ability to sort of convert placement into wins.
And I know when the guys were talking about this match rule and how everything was working out, they don't seem too worried that teams might end up changing. But to be completely honest, sometimes when those teams do end up hitting that smash roll, all they have to do is just win. They have to switch their focus from being aggressive and just win. But it's easy. It's easier said than done, to be completely honest. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because sometimes teams change their strategies a little bit too much when they do hit that mark.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of the first times we're really seeing this go into play in terms of how are these last games on the final day, because that's the way it's going to work, right? We had 10 to the winning to the team in the front. At the end of day 2, you have 6 games to try to make that move and get the win, or we end at that extra 6. That means these teams are kind of inexperienced in how do we stop a smash, how do we make a smash work, and so I am interested to see the evolution of the teams adjusting to this new sort of style of play that day 3 is going to bring. And I also think it means you have to start strong on day 1. You can't be trailing, because if a team hits that smash cutoff and they're 30 or 40 points ahead going into day 3, I don't know that you can catch them.
Yeah, you might not be able to catch it, especially depending on how Myth decides to start the day. I know on day 2 during groups, they decided to slow down, which was okay with them. They had already qualified after day 1. One thing that we also need to keep an eye on is just those superstars finally showing up. We saw it happen with Tick for Falcons, especially on the last match of day 1 of their groups. And we also saw it happen with T1 Heather.
Yeah, we sure did. Honestly, T1 Heather and also Kiss from Myth have basically been overtaking each other in kills, eliminations for just their solo placement. So these two like firepower players for their squads are really showcasing what they can do. Obviously, you know, with the rest of the team here. But yeah, we need to watch Heather again going into these sort of this final stage, because like you were sort of touching on, it is kind of a race to get the most amount of eliminations. But that was my worry, is Heather and T1 converting that into the win as of Myth. So Myth is Kiss, who was I think about 24 eliminations of the group stages.
Yep, that's
and that is like obviously then better converted for their win rate as well. So it's going to be amazing watching these two players.
I would just leave you with this small thought. Beware of 3 and 4. Tig and Tonvu both have world championships under their belt. Top fraggers. They're incredibly good. Yes, Tig has an asterisk on it, and he wants to prove that doesn't exist. So these are 2 guys who have been playing this well for a long time, and they could blow up and go all out on day 1.
Who's going to be showing up? Is it going to be one of those superstars, or could it end up being maybe a bit of a surprise? But no surprise for us. Kalaris has an interview with Vitality.
Hey, Kalaris here for the finals of PUBG Battlegrounds, and I am here with Hello My Bad to talk about everything that has gone on as well as what is to come. So let's first talk about the group stage, how you guys felt with your points, your performance. What was your outlook on that?
I feel like our performance was quite bad since we trolled so many games, even if we qualified. I mean, we had to be on first place as Smith did, but we're gonna keep it up. We're gonna, we did some game reviews and gonna do our best to recover these things.
Okay, fantastic. And let's talk about Quizzy. Obviously, he's the newest addition to the team. How has he been able to fit in? Have you changed around Quizzy? Has Quizzy kind of molded around you guys? What's the thoughts with Quizzy being on the roster?
I mean, it's a pleasure. There were some changes in our gameplay, in our game style, but nothing was hard to us. We get into it easily, and we just enjoy being around with the boys. So that's how I feel.
A good feeling, good vibes all around. That's good to hear from Quizzy. It's always nice to see him on some of these rosters as well, as he's been on quite a lot actually in the past now that I think about it. Kind of a final question as a whole here though as well is, obviously there's been a few conflicts here and there on Erangel with you and another team. So do you think that those are going to continue? Do you have concerns about those? What do you think going?
I mean, we're kind of prepared to all of the maps and mostly the teams looting around us. And basically, Team Liquid are gonna do their camp things on Erangel, and we're just gonna expect it.
All right, well, thank you very much, Hello My Bad. I won't keep you any longer. Head on back to your team. Thank you very much for tuning in here. We've got more coming at you from the Esports World Cup.
The vibes are there for Vitality, but they're going to need way more than vibes, because we can also bring the vibes out here. Thanks for Lace for joining us early. I think the hair was going crazy. Now it has... Oh, never mind. It's still going crazy, too.
Not a thing wrong with it at all. What do you mean? Just like I left the studio.
Nice. Handsome as always. Before we head into the match 1, Godspeed, what was one team that really impressed you during groups?
I mean, honestly, it was T1. We knew that team was strong. We knew this year specifically. I mean, we kind of talked about how they were bullying 4AM and PGS, but I didn't expect them to come that hard. Heather, my goodness, Heather, Ian, the whole squad, but mainly Heather. What a fragger, what a player. And the fact that he's been able to play for so long, and they're at EWC, again, the swap to TPP still just as dominant. I think T1 might actually win this thing.
Yeah, it was raining points for those guys. But I got to pivot. I love T1, but I also love what I saw out of Na'Vi going through the week. The fact of the matter is they got almost as many KPs as they did overall points. It doesn't matter placement. It doesn't matter fight. They seem to find a way to make the points to put in the hopper. So I think if they don't finish first, they're at least going to finish in the top 5.
And one team that was able to kind of impress me in some kind of way, considering that they started off super slow. No, it's not Shadow. I'm not going to be talking about Shadow today. Even though, for some reason, they end up doing good. Best believe I'm going to talk about them. But it was actually 17 Gaming. I was surprised to see them being able to bounce back.
Yeah.
I think that's something that you guys were expecting, especially where they usually end up dropping in regards to the maps. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue to enjoy the amazing view here in Paris because that Eiffel Tower looks amazing. The wind is blowing on our faces. But it's time we get started with the PUBG Battlegrounds at EWC 26 Finals.
Days of teams establishing dominance on the main stage has now led to this. No more warm-ups, no more second chances. Today, we reset and begin our finals run.
Yesterday, Miss crushed the hopes of 8 teams by destroying their key. And today, all eyes are on them. But can they do the same performance in the finals?
We have 16 of the best teams in the world ready to come out swinging. And the next 3 days will be a true test of their composure, their confidence, and their consistency.
And the only thing standing in their way, I mean, just the 15 best teams in the world. Bunny, we need our player on stage, so it is time to introduce your finalists, starting with Shadow Esports!
Your reigning world champions, Full Sense!
Genji Esports!
AGAL!
Geeky Esports!
Team Vitality!
The Vicious Esports!
Team Liquid!
Gam Esports!
'17 Gaming!
Your reigning club champions, Team Falcons!
Virtus Pro!
Navy!
T1!
Myth!
And finally, your defending champions of the Esports World Cup, Twisted Minds! We've got $2 million on the line, a legacy to create, and a trophy to lift, and just 3 days to get there.
Will the group stage ranking hold up, or will the finals rewrite the script? It is time for day 1 of PUBG Battlegrounds finals here in Paris at the Esports World Cup.
in Paris.
People always in group stage play confidently, and then comes the finals, and all of a sudden they forget how to play the game. 그룹 스테이지에서 좋은 모습 보여드렸고 이번 파이널도 그룹 스테이지만큼 좋은 모습 보여드릴 수 있을 것 같습니다.
If we can play good and be satisfied with our performance, I think no one is going to beat us, and I think we don't have any rivals.
ก็อยากให้ทุกคนในทีมเข้าใจกันมากขึ้นครับแล้วก็สนุกสนานเฮฮากันอยู่ตลอด
我觉得我们队伍如果能把状态调整好的话，决赛我们也是有争冠希望的。
I believe in all my teammates, and we have a lot of experience. And we've also got Cowboy, who got added this year, and we're pretty happy with the team and the work we put in. So I think we're feeling pretty confident.
We are confident about final. We will beat every team.
Yeah, looking for that fireball.
Let's go, Vitality.
We are going to win EWC.
We've won before, and I think we absolutely have what it takes to lift it again. Falcons are here.
We're here to show that we are the best TPP team, so we're ready to win.
Hey everybody, it is Quaker and Darth taking you through the first 3 games of the day, as it is going to be, I guess, a setup for everything, right, is really the way to look at it. You and Forrest did a great job on breaking down everything and how we're going to be looking at the games going into everything, how the Smash rules work. The desk have been talking about teams and their performances, but really, I mean, what are we looking at? Are we looking at teams trying to focus up on trying to, like, build into getting victories and getting the chicken dinner each round, or just aiming for points out of everything altogether?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's a little of both, but, you know, I think points are going to be kind of the name of the game. That's what we saw with, you know, some of the teams that are going to be up at the top of the group stage, where it was come out, get some kills. You know, if the wins happen, great. If not, then whatever. Especially in this lobby where there's so many good teams. It's crazy stacked as usual in a finals lobby for PUBG Battlegrounds, and you just got to go out there and have that same level of confidence. So I'm looking at Myth, T1 to keep replicating that good team fighting tactic strategy that they brought to the table.
I mean, VP has got a statement in and of themselves, as on day 2, they actually generated the most points out of anybody else inside the lobby, but it just wasn't as explosive as whenever we look at squads like Myth and T1, right? T1 was just fragging out, but Myth coming in after getting so many victories, getting the chicken dinner over and over again, you have to feel like there's some level of advantage for them going into a Smash system, right?
I agree. I think they are the heavy favorites right now because they've shown that, you know, they can get it done in just about any situation, any format. They've won multiple PGSs already this year. They're looking to take yet another championship, and it's the complete package of a team. They team fight incredibly well. They don't overextend. They can play for the late game. Like, they do everything you want out of a PUBG team.
And whenever we look at T1 on the other side of that, you might as well just call them T2. They always get second place, it feels like. They're never the squad that manages to get the chicken dinner. Opposing side of that, Twisted, that we're looking at right now. Yeah, okay, we've talked about the coach. We've talked about Luke coming back in. But I want to talk about specifically yesterday and their numbers. 23 points on the day. To give you an idea, JDG and 4 Angry Men are the only teams that actually got less points than them. Sharper and Nemesis, who didn't manage to qualify, managed to get more points than they did on the day. That is worrying.
Yeah, how much of that is down to just Twisted kind of like, you know, having to reintegrate, lose maybe a little tired from the travel. Yeah, exactly, doing a little bit of swimming. So I think they'll be okay. I mean, Twisted is generally a team that you can't keep down for long. Like, they're going to, even if they have a slow start, they're going to come in and do well.
Okay, enough of the questions. Who could, what could, all this other stuff. It is time to get into game number 1. Plane is up and in the air, and it all comes down to a very western lay on this plane path. Coming over military to start off and ending in Zarki.
Yeah, so starting on Erangel, as we have been throughout all of EWC 26, and all of our players in the plane ready to go. So just kind of going to see how this first game shakes out. The other thing I want to talk about a little bit here, Matt, is some of the teams that were down towards the bottom that just kind of barely qualified that I think are going to be dark horses for this, like AGAL, a team that we know is explosive and has that capability to pop off. I think GAM could surprise here. They've been really good. Tanvuk continues to be an absolute menace. There's Vitality, who knows? Like, there's a bunch of teams that are you're looking at this as like, oh, they didn't play well. Full Sense, you're defending VGC champions. Like,
I'll be honest, whenever we look at the bottom of the leaderboard, okay, Shadow down there, there is the potential of just finding something, but it's going to be a lot harder. Other side of that, Gen.G, bro. I'll be honest, I almost forgot that Gen.G qualified.
They got a little lucky. The last game helped them with some of those hard circle shifts over on the military island. I mean, it still is disappointing for what this team is, who's on this team for Gen.G. You would expect it to be better, and look at this. We're going down to the military island once again.
Seems familiar from yesterday.
A little
Shades
bit.
of a couple of things that might play out pretty similar. We did see a much more Western lay as the circles kind of popped back to back. And that was for the survival of everybody in the squads. But Team Liquid looks like they're going to just be bullying AGAL out of position a little bit more. And Gen.G is going to go ahead and get themselves that car, as this is a lot on Gen.G's shoulders. As a squad that I have so much hopes for. With D coming into it, I mean, you got to love the fact that an American player coming in. What's going on in the squad? Let's listen in.
제가 제일 좋아하는 차량은 쿠페라고 2인용 차량인데 제가 느끼기엔 가장 빠르고 뭔가 스탑 앤 고가 되게 딜레이가 없다고 생각을 해서 쿠페를 가장 좋아하는 것 같습니다.
Not the BRDM. Speed kills, right?
I get the idea there. I like the Pony a lot for similar reasons. Pretty good car. But yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if you just want to go fast, bro.
Am I allowed to say motorcycle? I love the motorcycle.
Well, I mean, it's fun.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not technically a car. But
No.
whatever. Like, that's every single time, if I have an option, that's the vehicle I'm going to take.
Well, Kick is a believer too, apparently.
I live or die by my driving ability, okay?
Yeah.
Nobody gets to shoot me out. I will just mess up a jump myself.
You're the wheelman for your squad, is what you're saying.
Sometimes. But more often than not, that's like whenever we clown car in the U.S.
Oh, yeah, sure, of course. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a skill that is, so often kind of neglected. That's so important in this game, is being good at driving, especially on maps like Miramar where the terrain is really rough. And Delwyn is going to get identified and tagged up just a bit by Kickstart. Now he's going to turn his attention to a tire and will pop the tire on that coupe that's out at the building across the way. Oh my God, Falcons.
I like this. Big aggression coming out early. Delwyn still continuing to be trapped. The other players for AGAL, they're in vehicles. They're on the rotate. So if this takes too long, Falcons could find themselves outnumbered. Delwyn playing it patient. Here's the footsteps. Waiting. If he can get a knock, he might be able to turn this back into a 1v1. He's played this out slow enough. Falcons playing the outside angles. You can see off in the distance, the car is coming in. Falcons now going to be playing the northern section of it. They better be careful. That car could roll right up on top of them. Kickstart's trying to get in position fast enough. They just can't seem to find the player. The solos managed to survive for long enough. This is getting dicey for the Falcons. Shots now coming out. Delwyn surviving still, does manage to get a knock onto Tank. Runs back out. He goes down, but the support is now here. Has he done the work?
Okay, let's see if they can hold the line. They didn't quite identify which building Delwyn had snuck into. They guessed a little bit incorrectly, so Destroy and Himas have shown up to the scene. And Himas lets loose with a grenade, but it bounces off the roof. Isn't going to find much. Gustav finds Salalzi there off screen. So here, Falcons continuing to have some success in the early parts of the game. We saw this yesterday. Set up a trap. They were able to get some big kills, and they're getting big points.
This is just a symptom of the playing path. Everybody playing that more Western position. It means that AGL had to play this. They were kind of surrounded, trapped on point. But we do know that Himas is a killer, man. Him just holding this long enough, if he can find something. But I don't know what the loot situation's like. He's got himself an Uzi. Multiple players for the Falcons now starting to come in. They know exactly where he's at. The shield, not going to be enough. Kickstart's going to find him. And it's just starting to stack more and more problems for anyone's legend.
Yeah, great anticipation there that there was going to be a repeat. It was just a hold of the trigger for Kick. He was ready for it and gets the instant headshot. Himas in a weird situation where he had to swap guns because he didn't have a good close-up gun, had a bolt and a micro Uzi there. So he was in a really uncomfortable position, had to put up the folding shield to try to give himself some kind of protection, and Destroy has realized that this is no longer a viable hold. Not going to be knocked on the way out, it looks like, though.
Okay, I'll just say it. Falcons, Gustav, if this is the level of shot calling you're going to go for, these early game pushes, stuff like that, try to find more points, I'm about it, man. This is exactly what you need. It's also a momentum builder for your squad, right? Coming in, getting these 3 kills off the start in Circle 1 makes you feel like you can do anything.
I agree. I mean, I think it's really important to get off on the right foot. You want to have that strong start. You want to feel like, you're accumulating those points game over game, making sure you're putting yourself in that top-tier situation where you're getting 10, 11 points on average per game. And that's a really nice start for the Falcons, who will be coming in late to the circle. And I can even see Team Liquid maybe thinking about trying to mess with the Falcons a little bit here.
They're roaming over there. The circle, of course, leaning military base right now. Most of our squads already going for position. You can see Genji going for some airborne drop off into this, but this is what we had our eyes on. Team Liquid. This is another squad from the Americas that's showing a lot more initiative in the early sections, in Circle 1 specifically, and I've been loving it.
Yeah, me too. A couple teams, of course, going to be taking those emergency pickups, as you would expect with the military circle. A lot of teams are going to have to find alternate routes through. You never know when those bridges might be camped, and it's going to be Shadow just dropping in on top of the mountain. That's a nice find for them, honestly. That's a pretty good spot.
I do want to call that Falcons does have a path out down to the south. So Team Liquid is containing over into the east and to the north. But if we really do see Falcons just kind of hop in vehicles, cut south, a couple of shots now going at the Falcons, but no knocks coming out yet. It's really more just this VP as well as full sense situation that we're kind of watching.
I want to talk about what Setsuna is doing here with that very tippy-top position of that hill. He's giving himself a safe place that he can peek from. It's a really powerful position to be able to just keep track, take shots, not take much damage in response, have some safety so you don't have to prone, that kind of thing. Really nice setup there by Setsuna.
2 notes. Falcons did manage to get away from Team Liquid. They took that southern path, found it free and clear. They're good to go. Anyone's Legend, though, has a different problem as Vitality is coming out of Georgia Pole, pretty close to them. Solo and Destroy just over there going to be chilling, is hoping that did Vitality see this? It looks like they're trying to chase down Destroy.
Well, I think he's just hiding, so
they stopped for a second. We're looking.
Yeah, they may be suspicious because of that open door on that shack. That's an odd shack to have an open door on, but seems like they're just going to be not. You know, they might feel like it's bait, like it's a trap, and so they're just going to keep going on. I'm really curious about what the heck Full Sense is doing.
Yeah, I mean, Primorsk, they're chilling down there. Falcon's going to be wrapping it back behind them. Team Liquid going to get a little bit of airborne nature to themselves as well, seeing how they can scout. As all the squads really that we watch coming into this circle are going to be the tail end of that skirmish that was going on. Are Falcons running right down the same point that Full Sense is at?
Well, I'm kind of curious if this was like sort of a pseudo camp by Full Sense where they're trying to deny boat access from Primorsk. Maybe saw the kills in the kill feed, know where teams drop. And it is going to be a southern shifted circle still on the military island, still a lot of the base in there, still a lot of teams that had already made their move inside of this. But this seems to me like, so Full Sense, I think, was reading the kill feed, knew that Falcons were fighting AGL, knew they were dropping on the western side, and thought that maybe they can go for a little bit of a camp here. Kickstarts into their territory.
I haven't seen anybody shoot yet, so Kickstart has no idea this is going on. A couple of shots, don't manage to get the knock. No, do manage to go underneath of it, hit the toes to get the knock onto him. So Kickstart going to go down. I mean, it is right next to the res station, so do Falcons go for this? It looks like Tig's thinking about it.
That's what this is. They have Tanadol down, and they want to go for the res, and the Falcons just kind of drove into it, expecting that they could maybe come in here, get a boat for free. And in fact, they have found that this area is already occupado. So it's going to be a little bit difficult now for the Falcons, who probably want to try to get their teammates blue chip back up and running, but Vitality's driving right into this as well.
Third party could be inconvening on this one. Okay, Tig, back on the motorcycle. I think he's going to try to get out, but the timing on this is going to be terrible. It's going to be right as Vitality is on their approach on Military Base Island itself. You can see the GAM's using the BRDM to kind of bully against the other BRDM. Tig does get spotted by Vitality. Gedrox is going to get the knock and the flush, and that was a great start for Falcons, but 2 down early is going to make it a lot more complicated and not even really resable. Remember that we still have Gustav and Trimsy that have to cross the bridge just to get back over onto Military Base Island. I guess they could take I don't know. There's a couple of ways they could do this, but I think that most of the boats have been already taken.
I would suspect that there's not going to be great options for the Falcons. Maybe there's one leftover boat at the ferry pier, but I kind of doubt it. You're going to have to maybe try to cross the bridge otherwise. So, Tig's just trying to drive away and not really ready for the fact that Vitality was already going to be in the vicinity. Wasn't trying to drive around that hill or anything, so he kind of figured it out too little too late. Going to gas up the BRD on there, keep it fully fueled up for GAM. Now Vitality as well has kind of question marks about how they're going to get into this next circle. Full Sense got back in their boat and they're on their way over.
Destroy also roaming back behind all of this. 17 did pull an emergency pickup, opted to go away from it. Instead, hopped back in their vehicles. They're going to the eastern bridge, I assume because they wanted to hold onto their vehicles for longer, given the way that this circle's got a lot of open area. We are very southern leaned on our military base island. That's going to be the more open sections, including, of course, like the airport itself. That's going to be very wide out, except for the damaged vehicles and planes that are around it. But then to the south of it, it's the much more open section that we can see that T1's got a 2-2 split pretty much entirely across the fields down to the south.
That's a huge split for T1. I'm very curious what they're going to be able to do with that. Yeah, Shrimzy has been not super quiet about what he's been doing, so Vitality going to have to clear some of this territory. They suspect he's in the vicinity. Does have that level 3 gear, but that first spray really awkward. Gets the headshot, though, in the end. Looking for the double down, and he's got it.
Just popping heads right now, putting in the work. Take down Tiggleton. We'll all get 2 of you as vengeance. Gustav still on the other side of this. Nades raining down on him. But Gustav could go for a great flank position, make sure to really cut this off. Shrimzy wants to make sure that he secures out the kills, gets those points, now sitting at 5. Even if we do see Shrimzy and Gustav go down, that's a decent start on the day, even if they do go down early.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 5 points here is pretty okay for the Falcons, and any more that you get out of this game is going to be very, very nice, considering you've been having to fight sometimes at your own decision-making, other times at other teams. And Shrimzy was a really nice little move there to dodge some of those frag grenades that he knew were going to be coming his way, to get those first aids in and to get ready for the follow-up fight. Gedrock's looking for him.
2 follow-up fights that are going on. Full Sense is going to get eliminated by Team Liquid, who's crossed over the bridge, bumped into them. Big firefight to remove them from position. So Team Liquid also finding a lot of points as America trying to frag out early in a very desperate circle. Is in a weird turn of fate, Destroy is now back over next to the Falcons. It's just taken them so long to get away. Destroy, who's just trying to solo survive out in all of this, has realized maybe I could get some shots into it. And yeah, Destroy gets the knock on to Hello My Bad. And inadvertently, anyone's legend is going to come up and rescue Falcons.
Key point here, AGAL did get their revives as well. I can see their players on the very southern coast of the military base. So Destroy able to do a lot of big things for AGAL and keep them alive in this. There goes Gedrox, and Vitality is down. Great work here from Shrimzy. 4 kills in this game, 3 on the Vitality.
Let's see why there's a little bit of a conversation from the other players about might be the GOAT. He took a bad situation, turned it into a great situation. Na'Vi still dealing with Gam in the BRDM battle, where they're just kind of bouncing off of each other, is going to continue as this is the center of the circle of the south, that this is going to be VP. Quick update on all the other positionings. T1's managed to regroup over into the east of this. GK is going to be to the west of it. Gen G much further over to the north, but Myth is trying to hold out VC as Vicious is kind of roaming around every single angle around Myth right now.
Yeah, Vicious is just trying to find something kind of safe-ish in this circle, and it's, as you mentioned earlier, Matt, it's difficult in this part of the map, and they're already losing players. Simon T's gone. I mean, I have no idea. Into Narnia.
There's AGAL swimming out there. That's
real. Maybe they're trying to hit the players in the water. No. Oh, a good one, though. That one finds the mark right on top of Na'Vi. The follow-up is going to claim Boostic's life, trying to get that BRDM to a bit of a safer spot, but Na'Vi, I was going to mention how nice it is to have a BRDM in a circle like this, but mortars are a decent little counter.
I mean, you just got to be digging in this circle. It is just bad. I mean, full rock and stone moment's going to have to stack up. Team Liquid's going to be wrapping on a Gen G on the other side of what's going to be going on with this. VC still roaming out in the fields, not feeling too good. Myth taking the shots at him, but that's allowed Gam more maneuverability in this point where they could be a bit more pressured. Circle continues to go down to the south, and Twisted Mind's going to be feeling really good about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's Twisted now. It's just an important job of keeping that eastern edge of the mini-pier clear. Spyro will be taken down by a grenade from Corexy, so Na'Vi continues to get picked apart piece by piece. I think they're just going to have to rely on the safety of that BRDM. It was good grenades from Clories, and then the follow-up from Virtus Pro to put them in a really awful position where they've only got 2 alive. But yes, they still have that BRDM.
17. They're just going to try to make a send into the circle. They've got cars. They're going to roll right by Twisted at T1. Looks like they're going to be sending it into the BRDM duel. Pretty close to where Navi's at. I think that they've got a hillside that they're going to try to control. And VC going to go for a couple of shots. And I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of these are just going to try to get holes into sections of the map. And I was going to see maybe if they could send into it in 17. That was well... I mean, you got to give it to Vicious. They almost got that on a roaming 17.
That's understanding the map. That's knowing where 17's like kind of safe-ish spot that they could stop was. I mean, that was in the air when 17 was still in their cars, so that's really nicely thought out. They don't get anything out of it.
Where do you even go? If you go past this Na'Vi point, it's just going to get worse. So instead, you just jump out right into the face of Na'Vi. There's not too much else to be had over here, but a big crossfire. Na'Vi is going to get taken down. Vicious lives up to their names and gets them, but that just puts you into the GAM crossfire.
Yeah, there was T1 getting involved here as well, doing some damage into this. So going to have to throw down a lot of util to try to stabilize. And GAM loves this setup. They are so good about kind of hunkering down and finding their moments to put some pressure onto you.
Weird update, as I think that we have the Destroy Shrimsy duel still going off onto the north. Himas, the other side of what's going on with Anyone's Legend, has managed to touch the ground. He's down below Shadow and Handsy in the position that he's going to be playing. Mortars galore going to be the name of the game. When it's this open and in the fields, they're just ridiculously strong.
Absolutely. I think AGAL players are just going to try to swim and survive as long as they can. They're very fanned out, and that's part of the game now, is you're going to have that option, you know, with being recalled in. You probably don't have a lot of loot, if any. Nope, there's nobody on that beach.
Maybe, again, just for a point to play from. I figure that might be what we can see. Team Liquid
That's true.
In a little bit of trouble over here as they're playing the edge of the circle. It's Gen G one side. GAM also now going to be playing more into the north, trying to get into pretty much that Gen G mid positioning. GK is still holding down the res beacon, making sure that nobody can go after it, as Gen G is just in so much trouble over here, man. They don't have anywhere they can go.
No, this is very tricky. I mean, Bean's already knocked in the circle. Soul's still going to be able to find a knock from the blue, but we're into phase 4 blue, so it's going to tick down very, very quickly. 3 damage per second. Soul is going to be able to confirm that point at the very least, so making something out of nothing there is Soul, but it feels like Gen G is probably not long for this lobby. Oh, he gets another one.
I mean, if they get enough knocks, it's starting to stack up. The circle has left this position, so Gen G just on the hunt for whatever points that they can get. Team Liquid trying to survive. Myth now taking shots onto Team Liquid in their weakened position as GAM still just roaming around in the face, gatekeeping out everybody as Gen G does finally get eliminated. It's going to be the blue zone that finishes it out.
Yeah, Falcons as well went down off screen. 6 points, though, not bad at all for Falcons. You'll take that, considering how weird that game went to begin and how awful the starting circle is given your drop spot. So no big deal there for them. Cowboy trying to punish Myth, has Baron out in the open, but Jacob responds instantly.
Myth stacking kills. We saw Falcons trying to find something. They've gone out. Team Liquid in that troubled position we saw a second ago, but Myth just using their firing lines, finding more and more. But as the circle continues to go coastline, VP is getting a lot of control over the circle on one side of it, and then you have 17 now starting to deal with T1. And 17's position's just not that good. T1's just going to drop a couple of nades right into the thick of all of them, knows where they're at. And T1 is just, it's brutal efficiency, man. They just look so clean, and it's so easy for them to just stack kill upon kill.
I mean, Heather's been incredible. That's a great response, though. Almost gets the knock onto Ian.
Oh.
The follow-up trying to anticipate where he was going to run to doesn't land, but here come the mortars. Perfectix. It hits Tian. Lil Ghost stuck behind the Dorito when it just came up short. Heather had a good opportunity, and now it's going to be Lil Ghost responding. Cannot find the knock. Good prone there from Heather.
How does Heather just know how to, every single time, get into position, stay alive, and get these kills? It is just ridiculous to watch T1 play these types of positions. So Myth now in second place, T1 in third place, but with Falcons being out, you feel like that's going to be usurped quite quickly. America's already out entirely off of that good start. Myth in trouble, though, as GAM is going to be the target on one side of it. Myth just rolls right into their face. Boy's got to be careful. Couple of third parties could get involved, most notably Vicious and GK. GK's hopped in vehicles, and they're wrapping this direction, and that could be a problem for Myth.
I think BC might come here, too. There's a good Panzer from Baron. He gets a headshot as well at range with the M4, but GK has found their mark. They have found some targets, and they are picking apart the teams underneath them down the hill.
There's enough of a hillside that they don't have to deal with anybody else except for really VP, who's holding the top of the hill. So, taking down Myth, getting a lot of damage onto him, and at least stalling them out is giving GK a lot more maneuverability positions, but VP has so much control over the circle, everybody's just having to cluster down at different points. AGAL, I think, has now also been spotted by Shadow, who's just been kind of hiding in the shadow of the cliff facings down to the south. And let's not forget Twisted down there into the southeast, just waiting for everything to go, but they're taking eyes and looking into T1's positioning, making this a little bit more dubious.
Yeah, Heather tried to spread out a little bit over to the west and got immediately thwarted by the sightlines of Twisted from that mini pier position. So that has sent T1 a little bit further north. Don't want to try to maintain that hold over that flat ground. Handsy is going to claim some players from AGAL. I mean, you got a placement point out of it for AGAL with the destroy, ability to survive, get a kill. call in the recall, get your players out in the water, at least found something.
Finding more successes than the squads that were trying to use this coastline to get those couple of points to qualify and knock Shadow out. So Shadow learning the lesson of what was going on yesterday. You can tell VOD review coming up big for them. But Geek and Myth now need to get in the circle. Twisted down to the southeast also needs to do the same thing. VP is also starting to lose a lot of their, I guess, high ground control position that they've been playing. And Shadow doesn't have any options except really to force their way right into VP's positioning. So that's going to open up some more maneuverability for the rest of the lobby right now. It's just pretty much this high ground that we can see coming up in the coastline leading into the cliff. And everybody's about, what, 20 meters, maybe 10 down lower than them.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice like vision point to try to find how you want to make your entry into this, because you're going to have to probably crash somebody or try to create some space in the middle by setting up the vehicle forward immediately, get the pickaxes out, start digging in to see if you can find some space. But you're going to be under the sight lines of a lot of teams if you have to do it on foot. Luca Rux tapping away with the M4. Did find one knock, but Hansy found a big one onto bgmi, and they are getting cut down, though, correctly with the SLR. This is so difficult for Shadow.
Other side of it's going to be Twisted Minds. They've got vision, crossfire galore onto Shadow, and they go down. Means that bgmi's probably going to be resable. Looks like Twisted doesn't have an angle onto his position. Nixie still has to keep an eye on Geek, but Geek is very focused on what's going on with Myth to the north of them. Myth just can't find a path into the circle, and I don't blame him. I mean, there's a little bit of a ridgeline up on top of this as VP is just punishing Geek on every single peak, and until Myth goes down, Geek doesn't have a path into the circle.
This is still a very nice game for Myth, no matter how this shakes out. They've already got 10 points in this, so they're just kind of keeping on, doing what they do best, finding kills, fighting out on the edges, taking great team fights, capitalizing on their moments, getting the points where they can, making sure that they confirm every knock that they get. It seems like they're so aggressive with those vehicles now. They're trying to hop from triangle to triangle. Sungjong watching with the Dragunov to try to catch them in transition. That's not bad, and that's a good follow-up from Akan.
Myth is just trying to creep their way in, so they still need to get right up next to the road or at least cross it, and you can see that that's going to be nigh insurmountable. Nade, depending on the bounce, gonna go to that side of the Dorito, but it was already red. Scappy's gone ahead and pulled Baron into a new spot. I think that they're right on the edge, so as long as he gets this res up, it'll buy him at least this circle, but good luck after that.
Heather just domed Sungjong. He just absolutely wrecked him out there. So that's given Myth the opportunity to really make sure that they can get this res to go. In fact, Scappy's going to take the point.
Okay, so look at the lay of the land with the circle. T1's got control over the east. VP is trying to hold on to their high ground for as much as they can, but Twisted's trying to sneak in right underneath of them. DK right on the edge of the zone, not too much further they can go. VC is playing a little bit of a hill right on the other side of where Myth is trying to cross, and they haven't managed to get too involved as Myth is going to finally get eliminated. DK, where do you go? You're going to have to deal with VP close range, or you just run down into VC, but neither one of those fights feels good, and it feels like VP is just taking more territory control and making this brutal by the second.
Yeah, Geeke's in a very awkward position. It should be mentioned today that Geek kind of made a power move when it came to the drop spots today. They were threatening to challenge AGAL all across the maps, and that might have been part of the reason that AGAL was in a weird position early where they started to get picked apart. And also you notice the Geek's loot is very sparse compared to what they would like. You see some MP5s in there, you see an SKS in there, maybe not exactly the guns that they would normally want to be bringing to these fights. I saw an M16. Granted, they're a team that can thrive with weaker weapons, so to speak, but they're kind of trying to find a way around VC.
This is great from Twisted Minds. They're playing the coastline, moving in. You can see that they're just trying to corral VP further up the hillside, so that way they have a little bit more maneuverability over here because it's pretty hazardous. VP is trying to deny it on that side, though. They're trying to get into a point where they can keep an eye on the coastline approach. Twisted going to see if they can be enough to kind of bully their way in, but they are getting some assistance, Twisted is, by T1 on the other side of this. T1's realized that Geek is right on top of VC, so their focus is turning a bit more down into VP's positioning, and they don't like how that strong position that VP's playing is kind of giving them as much control as they've got. So it looks like EN might be moving their way down as BB does spot out Lou. I don't know, Twisted. Now you've got a pinch on both sides, and there is nowhere to go. Open field in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, with Virtus Pro already pretty well dug in here, you're going to have to land some really nice grenades. They try to flank Lou out to find a bit of a freebie pick, but it was well read by Virtus Pro. Now T1 swung down to the backside of this. They want to make sure that Twisted is dealt with. They'll leave Heather up on his own to corral Geek, who they know are pinned on that hillside up on the northern edge. They can't really peek out too efficiently. EN thinking about the frag. frag. Did that grenade just bounce off of Example's head?
T1's never found a fight that they don't want to be a part of. Perfectic's going to go down. Type's going to go ahead and find Example. So that's going to be Twisted Minds down out in that position. So 5th place. We've got our top 4 now. T1's going to go ahead and regroup. Heather made a contain play, holding back Geek as well as Vicious. So VP still holding their point. So it's a 2-2 split at this stage as the circle pops, and really VC the only one in it.
Yeah, seeing a little bit of frustration there from Batu. You know, again, this team will bounce back. I think a 7-point game, not definitely how you wanted it to roll, but with Twisted, they're always want to just keep popping off eventually.
Twisted is so smart, and they're trying to do like these damage control maneuvers on these really brutal shifted circles that we're seeing. You know, whenever you're smart and you've got the gameplay coming in, you're trying to figure out a strategy to deal with coastline military base to the south on Circle 4. It's so hard, and but that's what you get at this stage, man.
7's good, yeah, exactly, man. This is not an easy circle to be in. Park Pro going to be watching the back tree there of a couple players of T1. Can't get that 3x spray to really connect initially. Able to follow up with some damage, but takes about an equal amount. And that's going to open the door here for Heather to go for the grenade. Is it going to connect on a Park Pro? No, it bounces a little too far.
I mean, Vicious has just been chilling here for so long, not really involved in too many of the firefights. I have no idea what's going on with the squad, what really their economy looks like, how much ammo, meds that they're sitting on, as Geek is just right on the other side of the hill from them, and it's just defended. You can see that it's going to be nowhere else for Geek to go. They've got to push this side of it, and Vicious is just doing a good job on holding it and not allowing Geek to go anywhere. Geek is going to be so pissed at these guys because they've been right on top of each other for so long. Finally, Tycon takes some damage, but I mean, where does EJ go? He's just trapped here. He's going to go down to the blue zone. Park Pro now the only one up, and it's all T1 focused in on him.
He's done. They're just going to succumb to the blue. Don't want to give any extra points over if they can help it. I think that's a fine play from Geek. And again, a tough situation that they found themselves in. Not easy to be on the outside looking in of this current circle. T1 continues to swing around the side. Raining found a big knock onto Virtus Pro, and they're looking to try to capitalize. Smokes are down. They're going to keep moving forward.
Can they get there fast enough? Jumping in the vehicles. They want to get into a great position. Great shots already finding. Tycon's going to go and get the knock on to Nixie, but everybody's getting a piece of what's going on with VP right now. Ian down for T1, but they continue the push around on this angle. VP doing a great job on defense, but it's going to be Lucarux right in the face of VC, and this is exactly what T1 wanted. They wanted these two squads on top of each other so they could dismantle them at their leisure.
And to make everything worse, Lucarux just going to try to run him over. He's out of the car, trying to do some damage. Hops into the smoke, is barely alive, trying to go for that first aid. Has a little bit of time. Meanwhile, Type is on the hunt, and he has taken down Virtus Pro members. They only have one standing, and that's Lucarux in that smoke.
Make your enemies do the work for you. T1 now at the top of the leaderboard, but Lucarux surviving in a desperate situation. Finds more, picks it up in the end. It is going to be T1 feasting on it all.
Well, this is exactly what we were looking for from T1. They've been second so many times, and they come out with a big statement chicken dinner to kick off the finals of EWC 26.
That's a scary situation to be looking at. 11 kill victory coming up from T1 is going to put them in a great position on the leaderboard to start off everything and really unlock that aggression that T1 loves to bring in the earlier stages. Flip side of that, though, VP played that circle so well. This is a squad that we have such high hopes for. They managed to make it later stages. Lucarux with hero plays, surviving, jumping in the car, running right into VC's face, gets a knock off of it, and just jumps out and starts massacring.
It's one of those funny moments where you can kind of use your opponent's smokes and vision denial against them a bit. And there were a bunch of stuns that were landing in there. I mean, it's absolute chaos, but he has that AK for this close range fight, which is just a beautiful gun to have in that situation, as T1's just trying to claim as many points in the end as they can.
I mean, Lucarux, great play, not denying it, but the puppet strings were coming from T1. The way that they played that circle, they forced that position. They forced him to send into that angle and really deny it out. VC survived for so long off of good positioning and good defense, and kind of screwed over several teams, just not allowing anybody in the north to come into the circle.
Exactly. I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to some of those teams that were caught up in that northern fight, like EK, like VC, even GAM a little bit earlier on, I thought played it pretty decently. So, you know, even though they don't get a lot of points out of it, GAM, they were causing a lot of havoc up there, giving themselves some opportunities for points. They just couldn't capitalize.
I mean, we had action off the get-go. Plane path was crazy, leading us all the way down to Millie. Let's go ahead and get everything set for game number 2.
people are haunted by their past. I'm inspired by it.
They're not just playing for themselves, they're really playing for their entire family.
They have defeated their demons. They have crushed the curse.
Hey, it's Colaris here. I've got Tab with me from Twisted Minds. So, Tab, my first question is, how does it feel being the best player on the team?
Not best, but yeah, it was kind of stable. So yeah, nice, feeling nice because I wasn't like a problem for the team. So yeah, I'm proud by myself.
Absolutely. It was awesome to watch you play things out. So overall, obviously, you know, as day two, a little harder actually for Twisted Minds as a whole. What do you guys think about that? What do you think was the reason for it being a bit harder day two?
It wasn't like harder in case of like the team, but most of the most situations what we met, it was always about the comms, you know, like how to play together and have the same temp for each player. Like we have to make any decision together. So that was a problem, I think.
That's an amazing answer. Thank you very much for that. So final question then. Your thoughts? Is Twisted Minds going to be the back-to-back?
Yes, I swear. I'll say yeah, I swear. We will do it and we will do our best.
Thank you very much, Tab, for joining me here. Good luck in the next couple of days. And that is us here, done and done.
Hey everybody, it is Matcham here. I got myself Team Liquid's Cowboy, the new face on the roster, and welcome to EWC. This is your first time here, right?
Yep, my first time at EWC.
So you enjoying it so far?
Yeah, it's been a blast. Really cool event.
So looking on to the future, you guys now qualified for the grand finals. You guys were, I guess, spicy on the last day, doing some hunting down, trying to cut out some people, make sure you get into a better position. Anything that you got planned for today that you can reveal? Anything else fun coming down the pipeline?
Right now, no. I think we're just going to play our game, but we're always down for some fun, so we'll see later on, maybe.
All right, last question I got to know. Your name's Cowboy. Why is there never a cowboy hat?
I don't know. Maybe one day. I have one at home, though.
I was going to say, do you need me to bring you one from Texas? You got one?
I got one, yeah.
All right, cool, man. Thanks so much. You have a great day.
Thank you, man. By the way, like the shirt as well as T1 came out hot. We had this team on Sony's Story of the Day, and there was no surprise, Toffee, that they were able to perform like this, especially with that 2-2 split at the end, too.
I mean, they look good. It's not a surprise. We talked about the start of the day. Everybody was like, Heather this, Heather that. It's raining points, and so it doth again begin in such a way. You know, I'm not shocked. I guess I'm sad for everybody else in the lobby because you're playing that chase game now, boys.
I mean, they might have heard me because I was like, oh, you know, they get the kills and the eliminations, but their ability to sort of change that into a win is not existent until now. So reverse caster curse, I believe, for T1. But I mean, yeah, they played that exceptionally from start to finish, and to see them be able to get to that point as a full squad was exceptional.
Yeah, what actually impressed me the most about that as well is the play they had, right? They sent two down to the south to kind of watch VP, make sure that they couldn't encroach on their position. Then they sent the other two towards the north to watch what was kind of going on between Vicious and I believe it was Geeke. But man, I have to say, for me, Lucarux, that was one of the sickest clutch plays to get Vicious out of there and secure second place. That was so sick.
Super true, because that's the hard part, Laces. Do you just go for that easy one flush, or do you try to take that 1v1 that will ultimately amount to 2 points? That's a tough decision.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, it was something that it looks like they pre-planned it. I mean, their ability to adapt is exceptional, but I feel like this is something that they might have calculated from the group stages, because we did not see this sort of like play style in group stages. So that took something to the drawing board, and they are absolutely smashing it.
The willingness to risk the one in the hand for the two. You know what I'm saying? Like, as it was, he had an easy flush right there in front of him and said, we got to go for those bigger points to chase teams like T1, who started incredibly strong. Vicious coming out in fourth place. We talked a little bit about them and how they kind of surprised us on their second day of play, making a lot of point runs. These are the teams, in fact, if you even go back a few more ticks, you got your Falcons that were knocked out, a couple other top contenders. The people who got to the top 7 are exactly who we expected to be there in game 1.
That's right. I mean, Myth as well, even though they didn't end up being on that final, they were still able to collect 9 kill points.
impressive play out of that squad, considering they really didn't have Godspeed. With mid towards the north, they didn't really have anything to work with, and they were able to make something out of that.
But that's the thing, that roster, no matter what, any good roster in PUBG, Steve knows this, any good roster is going to find a way to get as many points as possible, regardless of what situation they're in. That's what makes Myth so dangerous. That's what made Twisted so strong. That's what made Falcon so strong.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them on the north side there being able to clear out Team Liquid on the northwest, which, you know, I thought they were going to more push into Gam, who was holding them out in zone. But no, they cleared their backs, and then they were able to decimate Gam going into the zone, which was awesome for them collecting that. Obviously, you know, they were only down to the 2, but I feel like no matter kind of what dynamic duo is happening, you know, whether it's, you know, Kiss and Jacob and Baron swapping around, the way that they can just have that cohesion as a team, no matter who is still standing, is insane. Like, I am so impressed by this squad.
I'm impressed by that squad. I'm impressed by a lot of the squads and how they're going to approach this. And I think one thing to keep in mind is the first couple games here are a chess match for these teams, right? Yeah, especially that circle goes far south, makes it tough for some of these teams on rotation. So what you're going to look for is the salvage teams. AGAL with some swimmers out there hoping to pick up a couple of extra points. Falcons realizing that they
6 points.
Yeah, and they reason Falcons going, we lost some resources. Let's crash Vitality, take that extra risk, and hopefully pick up a few more. And that's what you need to do, especially with this new Smash roll on day 3. You need to go in ahead, or at the very least, you can't go in behind. If you look at T1 right now, they get the 10 for winning, they get 11 for kills. That is a huge jump. If they are 21 ahead when we go into the 3rd day, it may be uncatchable outside of the 6.
Yeah, in Smash, you absolutely want to set the pace. You want to be in first because ultimately you're basically setting yourself up to win the tournament rather than having someone come from behind and then, you know, kind of steal it.
That's right. I mean, with this squads too, you just need to make sure the gap is not too insane going into the final game, because then from whoever's in first place, depending on how many points they have, you will end up adding 10. And if it's too far away, it's just going to come down to that squad that is in first place to just do enough to get those 10 points and then just play for that win.
Well, it even goes farther, because if a team is far enough ahead, right, you don't get to play your normal game. The entire lobby now has the onus of being in charge of stopping them from winning. So that means, like, I might be executing the perfect strategy, but oh my goodness, I see the kill feed and the team that could very much win with a chicken dinner here gets a knock. I have to send them. I can't let them maybe get that win because I need to make sure I'm in first. The club points are on the line, the $2 million, like, this is not something you can take light risks on.
Do you think T1 can, you know, get sabotaged? Because what we witnessed is they were always being the saboteur. So I don't know if this is something that, you know, is going to be a little bit difficult for the teams, but from watching the group stages, all I saw was T1 taking down all those teams in their path, and yeah, it might not be the reverse.
I'm hoping it ends up happening. I'm pretty sure at some point we might end up seeing a bit of a sabotage too, depending on what happens here, if teams do have to chase. But this is just game 1. Get a bit to relax here, unless it happens in game 2 and game 3 and so on. But I'm hearing that we got something going on with Kalaris on the stage.
There's always something going on with me. There's a lot in my head. There's a lot going on here at the Esports World Cup. But of course, we had some great plays in that first game with everyone trying to deal with military, as always here on Erangel. But there's been plenty of great plays throughout the tournament already so far. What have been some of your best?
Oh, man, I think the first thing that comes to mind has got to be that example drop shot when he was... look, I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if it was done on purpose, but, man, it looked cool. It really did. You see the cinematics... UAS going over the top of his head. It was insane. And then don't follow that up, the Tiggleton double mortar. Yeah. The back-to-back mortar, and then them going off and then just farming the rest of the northern side of the lobby. Those are the two that first stick out to my mind. What about you?
Yeah, definitely very impressive stuff. I will say, when it comes to that example, and that was sick, and the mortars were fantastic as well. For me, it's a very simple one. I kind of liked the panzer underneath the BRDM from Tanvu, because it's very rare you see that angle being exploited. So for Tanvu to be able to make something like that happen was pretty damn awesome, right?
I mean, again, you could also put that into the list of, was it intentional or was it something that just kind of happened magically? But either way, it was so fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. There's been a lot, of course, and there's going to be more on the way as well. The thing is that you've got some amazing situations happening too. I think Himas being able to get as many kills as he did for AGAL, it really kind of righted the ship a little bit, I think, for them. What do you think?
No, absolutely. AGAL definitely needed somebody to step up, and this is the time when your superstars have to start shining their brightest. But what's going on now?
Oh, it's time for the game, Poro. All right, let's head on over to the commentator team for the next game here for the finals.
Oh, it's a tale of two different mindsets, as they're all technical with, like, shooting like Panzerfaust. Okay. Yeah, plane path over into the east, as you're kind of alluding to. AGL is going to have to do a longer drop to try to get away from a full sense. No shenanigans off the start on this one. Now, there is a takeaway that I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, Falcons taking that fight early is just, they went out, blah, blah, blah. No, look, when in game one, trying to set a pace and taking control over an area and saying, like, don't mess with us, this is ours, that has ramifications that sacrificing a game one start and still walking away with a high amount of kills is not a loss. That is a big victory.
Absolutely. I mean, this is perfectly fine for the Falcons. I mean, if you're concerned about what they did in that first game, I'd have concerns about you, because that was a reasonable play, particularly given the circle, given the situation they were in. It was a hard shifted circle. So a lot of those teams that are dropping on those very northern spots, like South George, up in that, kind of vicinity of the Matt Gatka, that kind of stuff. Look, it's going to be hard to get into that circle, no matter what you do. Even if you emergency pick up, if you drive, bridges are going to be camped. There's going to be people who may already be in the compounds you're kind of eyeing from those emergency pickups. Just take the points where you can.
Yeah, okay, circle pop. Down to the south, Gam going to be in a great position. Na'Vi, Myth as well. Vitality playing around Ohyang. They're going to be feeling pretty good. Jin Ji is going to be inside the circle, and just to the east of them is going to be Gike. But we're going to have longer wraps coming in from the guys that went to the island up to the north. That's going to be a VP, Shadow, AGAL, Full Sense, Team Liquid, kind of. I think that they left ALO kind of very close to the edge of the circle, so they should be fine. 17 and Twisted going to be right next to each other on the edge of the zone. But T1 and Myth do drop pretty close to each other, and that could be a recipe for something fun to brew.
That would be nice. Getting to see those two teams take a fight. I mean, the rest of the lobby would love that in particular, given how well they've been playing lately.
I mean, when we're talking about, like, what's going on and how we have expectations coming into this, yes, T1, Myth, but whenever my eyes go European right now, for me it's VP. VP off of the performance on day 2, just overall great. The way that the squad can really just kind of find ways to make terrible circles work for them is incredible. You can see a lot of squads, like Batulans was getting annoyed at that last game, just due to how the circles kind of fall together. VP has this system that seems to work where they can take a mess and just turn everything advantageous to themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to some of the games last year that they won in really bizarre situations where there's just like flat fields. Like I can remember one here on Tego where it came down to like a 1v1 and they're able to clutch it out because of some really good smoke play and the way they were able to position themselves. I can't remember, it was a Thai team. I can't remember which one they were going against, but anyway, they are really sturdy in those moments. The thing that hurt VP during the group stage was they had kind of a run there on the first day where they just couldn't get into those late game situations like they normally are really pretty adept at doing. So as long as they can do that, you're feeling pretty good. You may get your wish here a bit. No damage done.
T1 getting shot at and not stopping to fight? Not my T1.
Well, they probably know who it is, and they're probably like, okay, of any team in the lobby to try to fight early, maybe this one's not the one we want to try to contest.
Especially when they've got a compound and all that other fun stuff. Another European squad, Na'Vi, great position. Center of the circle, they're trying to push back against 17, trying to get a bit closer to them, but I do like the fact that we get to see T1 in this rotating where they opt into stopping because there's really nobody playing to the west. The way that this has kind of all come down, Hosan's going to be kind of the northwest-ish. It's kind of central. It's in that like odd spot kind of in between both. Team Liquid's going to wrap over there, but that's the only squad really in the west.
Yeah, and I think this is a really good thing to talk about. You know, you're really highlighting well, Matt, that they went all the way across the circle to get here, right? So they're trying to play a bit more edge. They're trying to not just take that early position. Kabal's will take Panadol down early again, so Full Sense having struggles in the early game, but let's pencil that in for later. I think T1 wants to play a little bit more edge. They want to take those fights, and they're happy to not just claim a central compound. You know, they were pretty close to the center of the circle compared to a lot of teams, and they opted to go far west. That's really interesting, and that really says a lot about their current mindset for this tournament.
Well, a lot of times when we've talked about T1, right, they had a different coach at the time.
Yep.
You were talking yesterday a little bit about that, and kind of, do you think that this is more of a distinct playstyle difference that's now coming out from T1 due to that?
100%. 100%. It's a Lash K, the difference between him and Sonic. Like, Sonic is a much more, like, central heavy. Like, you think back to those old Donawan teams when they won PGC, like, they're going to look for those center circle dives around 3 and 4, whereas here you're going to play a little bit more spread, but you're going to look for those edge fights. That's very much that old Element Mystic kind of idea with a little bit more aggression baked in compared to what we saw when Lash K used to be a pro. So it's a lot of that kind of thing that T1 is so good good, on top of having just incredible players. I mean, they're so good.
Yeah. Top of the world right now is going to be Na'Vi in a great position. Everybody else still just trying to rotate in. Falcon's going to finally leave the airport. We have VC that look like they might be waiting for them, though. This is no rush to get in the circle. They have an easy way to get there, and they are keeping their heads on a swivel. It feels like this is just going to be patient waiting for. And Kurt actually finds E-End. Maybe T1 trying to bite off a little bit too much, as this is a great move coming out from Team Liquid. They were the last ones to actually get into this area. And how is it that there's nobody in the West, but somehow these two squads are the only ones fighting?
Well, I think T1 might have gotten baited a little bit here by Team Liquid. I mean, if Kirk can get out of this, this is going to be a great freebie point. Now, you could recover the chip. It looks like Heather just did that. There are some revive stations that you could go to. Hosan is the one that my eyes immediately go to as being open. I mean, Team Liquid is hunting, man. I love this. We've talked about it a lot this tournament.
I mean, worked for them yesterday. They managed to inflict damage, find great ways to really take control over circles, ruin, I guess, several teams today if you really look at it. T1 wants no piece of that right now because they know that Team Liquid is just coming in hot and heavy, and they do not care. Anyone's Legend actually making that long wrap finally is going to get into the circle just to the west of what we were just watching. VC did not end up staying long enough to wait and catch Falcons, so they're going to go ahead and go for the circle while Falcons has an easier path. And we still have Shadow and Full Sense fighting up in the Army base.
Yeah, that's kind of turned into a bit of a standoff up there at the very northern edge of the map. Maybe sort of a fight for territory.
I don't know if this feels good. You've now put yourself in between Team Liquid as well as T1. Team Liquid's realized, whoa, there's way too many cars over here. Let's not defend this angle anymore. Let's go ahead and try to regroup.
And I think T1's just maybe looking for a revive station is kind of the weirdness of this whole situation. Having a couple porters, not the best cars to have in this spot as T1. I think they're a little bit lucky that everybody else was also in cars in those moments, or otherwise they might have lost another player or two.
I mean, they can run down to Songam, but I guess that you don't want to make the commitment into that stage yet. Maybe they were thinking school because that's easier to get out of.
Yep.
But this is taking so long for them to find anything.
They got to go way west.
Everybody else is starting to make an approach in these late wraps. Finally, we do have also Shadow has left Full Sense to their own devices up there as we're about to get circle number 2.
Look at this. They might kind of run into a timing here between AGAL, but we'll see. It depends on where AGAL wants to make their turn. If they were thinking about contesting this, and Delwyn might have got an idea that T1 was going in that direction. Exactly what I'm looking at, Matt. It just depends.
I mean, yeah, but we did see that AGL went for a very coastal wrap on this one. So T1 in their adventure to try to get their teammate back just keeps bumping into everybody in the world. Most of the squads that were playing center don't have to move too much more. And I mean, for T1, this is really throwing off your timings on the circle.
I think they're going to get in here with just enough time, and I don't think AGAL is going to be able to punish this initially. Now, this will give AGAL a very good idea that there is a team on their backside, so they can try to set up a bit of a gatekeep onto T1 potentially, but this is going to be a tough revive to get to go for T1 in the long run. Just have to wait and see how they make it go. Gen G close to Team Liquid, who is split up into a 2-2 split, but
it feels like everybody is next to Team Liquid right now as they kind of threw themselves into the thick of it all. But yeah, Gamma spotted out VC. VC, we remember they were kind of a little bit slower on their rotate into all of this. So Duckmy at least going to find Duck Juice in return. Team Liquid, you can see, while they do have that hillside on the west in control, it's going to start being more contested as AGL is going to try to find an angle. Gams Tanvu does have vision up on Duckmy and is trying to dare him to go for the res, but just doesn't get the angle that he wants.
Yeah, it was Duck season up here. Oh, look at that. Levante comes up and over the hill. That's Vitality striking, and Gam continuing to have problems.
The timing on that, the Porter was rolling away. If he held the angle for a little bit longer, he could have found it, but Levante just coming in, ruining opportunities. See if Gam, what they want to do now, they have to retreat more down to the south. There's just not much else of an option.
Yeah, Falcons actually stole that point, though, so Levante not able to claim it despite a great timing on that hit.
Well, Gam's going to also bump into Falcons.
Yeah, man, this is getting really awkward for Gam. They might have to take that fight. Meanwhile, there is no safety to be found for Vicious. Tycon immediately getting peppered as he tries to push out and get some info. Has to go back and go for the heal. No doubt Falcons know about this. That vehicle not going to be the quietest thing in the world. So Hong F just looking for somewhere to set up shop. And the question for me right now is how aware is Gam of Falcons' position? They would have seen that flush in the kill feed. So they know Falcons are going to be somewhere. And they may have heard the shots and kind of triangulated that they're over in this direction. Now they know for sure.
Now what does Falcons want to do? Gustav's still playing back behind. He was trying to play anchor position, take a couple of shots of Vitality, but Vitality still looks like they're trying to get a piece of what's going on. Kickstart now going to play anchor and try to hold back Vitality. Gustav's going to go for an emergency pickup. I think that might just be scouting, but the way the rest of the squad's trying to regroup, maybe they don't like this approach. Given the way that these hills kind of stack together, I don't blame them. You can kind of go up that hillside. You don't have a lot of information on what's going on in the center. Meanwhile, other side of that, Full Sense, where are you going to go for the stop as Ian is going to be coming in same time. It's just helicopters everywhere in the circle.
Yeah, this is a revive, I believe, for Full Sense. So they're going to be dropping that into Songam, but it's going to be T1 who's going to drive in that direction. But they're going to see that helicopter. They're going to see the parachutes. Is that going to kind of make them rethink trying to go inside of the city proper to sort of get relooted up, get their fourth player back into the mix with some decent gear?
So whenever we look at this circle, right, there is actually a crescent that kind of comes around from where Twisted's playing, where we see, I guess, the southern section of Na'Vi, where Liquid Gen G are. There's a hillside there that leads into a valley that nobody's really wanting to play. Full Sense, though, managed to crash down just in time to get flush on Hong F. So they'll take that one for free, but they're still going to have to make a run into the circle. So most of our teams, like I was talking about with that, I guess, crescent hillside, all of them are going to be coming mostly from the south and mostly from the southwest, the way that we see this coming out. I don't know how we're going to see Gen G and Team Liquid be able to deal with the amount of threats because they're all just going to be rolling right on top of them.
It's going to be pretty dicey in the middle of there, so your team fighting going to have to be up to snuff for sure. AGAL has gotten inside of the circle. Oh, Salalzi, okay, that US is okay, and he seems to be as well. Himas, though, just going to roll up underneath this hill, trying to figure out exactly where Gen G is situated before he makes his stop. He's got to be a little worried, though. This hill kind of exposed on the backside. Clory's last player alive for GAM, and Falcons are in the car with him.
I thought they were going to take a drive together. No.
Did they not see him?
Maybe not. I mean, is he up against the tree side? Oh, yeah, he's in the back up against the tree.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Oh, sneaky.
I don't think they saw him.
I don't think so either.
No way. Oh, this is madness. Oh, Falcons. Oh, no.
If they sneak up and ruin him, that could be... If he ruins them... I mean, Falcons did the emergency pickup thing back behind all this. They know Vitality's over there, but of all the ways to go, T1 doesn't want to bully their way in just from the south directly. They're going to go over next to Calories and Falcons. Do they fall for the same trap?
Nope, they do not.
No. In defense of Falcons, it's much easier to see Caloris' positions from where Ian was standing.
That's true. And I'm not sure how much of the smoke was obscuring that, too, or what was going on. But, oh, well, Falcons looking to try to thwart T1 from gaining any entry into the next circle, if possible. There's Hanzi, who is a little bit close to some of those mortar hits, has been knocked, and Shadow not really moving to try to go for the res with their other two players. So, looks like they're just going to remain dug in and seemingly leave Hanzi to his own devices. Just a matter of the timing. They could still go for it. They do have a vehicle. I think maybe waiting for the mortars a bit.
I'd be a bit nervous for it, as, yeah, the mortars are still coming down. This is kind of like an island, this hillside, in the middle of all of this. So I don't necessarily blame them for not wanting to go to the south. That would put you right in Hakatori sightline. That wouldn't feel too good.
That would not be great. You don't want to ever be in Hakatori sightlines. Falcons, speaking of, are in the sightlines of Vitality. T1 as well getting tagged up as they try to make entry into this next circle. So big firefight there. T1 is in a really awful spot. They've got VC, AGAL's got position on them. They might just be going down early in this one.
There is nowhere to go. The only benefit is Vitality seems more focused on Falcons than going after T1. So with those shots coming out from Vitality, Vicious has turned their attention onto Vitality. T1 has managed to hop in with their car, and they're just sitting it in the circle. They managed to somehow survive a situation that they shouldn't, as it feels like everybody's decided that they want to deal with Falcons instead.
Yeah, I mean, Vitality fighting on a couple different fronts, though, so they haven't been able to really fully commit. They do have the BRDM, and Falcons having flashbacks of some earlier moments in this event. You get out of the car, though, and Shrimzy going to make you pay the price. Quizzy going down quick. Shrimzy really locked in here on day one of the finals, looking to confirm that point with the frag. See if he gets it. No, he does not, but Tiggleton is nigh unresable.
Yeah, they still have VC back behind him. That's not much else you could do, is there's just too much pressure. Other side of this now, Gen G in some trouble. Team Liquid as well as anyone's legend trying to make a push right on top of Gen G, and this is outside the circle. Everybody just trying to fight their way in, and unfortunately, it's on top of Gen G's position.
Yeah, AGAL doing some nice work out on the edge in this game, getting some big knocks, and let's see if they can capitalize. Team Liquid rolling into this party as well, trying to find some kind of angle into this fight. Gen G is going to be pincered between these two squads.
Big face. I don't know. Okay, Team Liquid, sorry, that distracted me for a moment. Team Liquid trying to get the kills on the sweeping side of this, but they're going to find a target-rich environment, potentially more than they might want. The Soul is the only one over here that's kind of in the circle. And don't forget, Vitality still either has to deal with VC, or they could opt into wrapping more west and be involved in this fight as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, at this point, as Vitality, it's like, well, we're probably not going deep into this game. Let's get some points. Salute, gonna dodge that util, get into the smoke. He lands that right at the feet of Cowboy, but Cowboy still wins the fight. Soul is doing some damage to AGAL, but Gen G just fighting so many different teams, so many different players. There just isn't much they can do. They're getting cut down here. Team Liquid trying to res their IGL Purdy-Curdy. AGL as well had a player go down, so they're trying to stick that res.
Moment to stop and breathe for Soul, as it is going to be a ton of friends roaming both sides real quick. See if he finds any safety. Gedrock's also making a run into the circle. Looks like Cowboy doesn't really like this approach anymore. He's going to go back to the north, but that's going to open up shots coming up from DK as well as VP if he continues on this path. And there's not much else you can go for. It's just time to send it and try to get to this hillside, and this is what Shadow is trying to play. They're going to do enough shots to discourage. Down to near on nothing. He's got himself a dip that he can stop in, but he's going to get dropped.
Yeah, I was just trying to maybe find some safety, do a little pre-scouting for the rest of his team. What in the world just happened? Soul just wiped out AGAL with one grenade, or two grenades it looks like. That is ridiculous stuff from him. He is going to go down immediately after that from Purdy-Curdy, but at least he got something out of that.
That turns a bad game into not bad game, to say the least. That was not feeling too good for Gen G. Circle's now popped. Team Liquid, they're going to have to go on the hunt yet again and try to dive right past GK. VC, and it's going to be full sense after making their jump all the way up from the north. They're going to be trying to gatekeep all of this out. The island that was kind of being held down by Shadow is just barely inside, and VP, again, with great positional awareness and how to tackle a circle, finds a great approach into the circle.
Well, they're Setsun up, kind of the star player for Shadow during the group stage, just making the foxhole and then just going to chill. VP, this is kind of their bread and butter, man. Playing a little bit of edge. They've got a lot of terrain to work with in front of them. You know, they're so good about kind of inching their way forward. The problem is GK just a step ahead in this next circle, so they will be able to find some level of safety next to this revive station, so can't go too much further forward, and you have a couple different squads that you have to deal with. Team Liquid is going to send it again towards the center of the circle where Cowboy died.
At first you don't succeed, try again, and that's a little bit of what's going on right now. Is Team Liquid is going to get eliminated. Maybe third time would have been the charm, as at least they die near each other.
If you're going to go down with your friends, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely a tough one there for Liquid.
Here's the push from VP. They do have some high ground, but there is going to be Navi that's taking shots on the northeastern side of VP. DK is a bit more focused on what's going on with the full sense VC situation. Levante still up for Vitality, maybe trying to get involved in that. Myth also getting dangerously close to Twisted on the other side of all of this. Is VC just doesn't have too many options. They're getting corralled over here. These are going to be the shots coming up from DK that's just going to force Vicious right into full sense. But, I mean, so far it's working, so why fight it?
I mean, Flash is going to have to go huge here. He hasn't really seen much. That smoke obscuring a lot of his vision. There is that point claimed for Duckmai. Oh, the grenade from Flash finds the mark. Nicely timed, and he strikes for another. Tycon down. All of a sudden, Flash trying to cling to life, but he's getting shot from behind by Myth.
Myth just involved in a little bit of everything right now, and if they push that, they could find a lot more opportunities for kills, and it looks like Baron might be thinking about it as long as Kiss is going to find himself in a veiled position. Duel of Fates over here, as Nade's going to go opposite sides of the rock. Not really going to get too much more, as it's just going to see who has more utility. Pal pretty low. Does Flash have an idea on where he's at? Depends on how that rolls down. Doesn't connect.
They might have overcooked that one with the underhand throw just a little bit. Pal trying to crawl forward. He's been under fire from a couple different angles, so has found a little bit of a dip for himself to hide in from the explosions. If he can get this grenade to land, though, Flash is in a lot of trouble, and he goes a little bit too far. Flash's turn up to bat.
Yeah, that Cubby could have just eaten a nade. Oh, counter nade. This is just the name of the game right now. They're essentially playing ping pong with nades just back and forth. But here comes Kiss getting a bit more involved in everything. But new circles pop. Maybe they don't want to go for it. VP also going for a wrap, as these solos just can't get the reses. And Tycon trying to at least crawl over and make it close enough, as Flash just barely survives that.
He put that on a knife's edge with that first aid. Eventually gets it through. Twisted and 17 are dueling up on the northeast corner. How still holding on by this tree. Has some smokes to work with. Myth peels off of this fight. They don't want to commit.
Oh,
there it is.
Tycon coming over, just trying to provide some more utility or something else to work with. But nope. In the end, it is going to be Flash that gets the flush onto both. Okay, do you have time to get Belmoth and try to make a run into the circle? I don't know about that, because down in the lower sections of it, we've got this firefight going on as GK tried to creep over to see if they could get a piece of what was happening with Flash, but VP is just finding more and more territory control as they pick up kill after kill. Just quiet consistency, performing time and time again.
Yeah, it just feels like they might be on for another big game. Who knows, maybe even a chicken dinner in the cards. You are going to take down Sungjong, so DK has been eliminated in front of you. You've claimed a lot of this southwestern edge to yourselves. Na'Vi still up and running with 4 themselves, so they could be very much a threat in this. Otherwise, everybody down to just 1 or 2 players. In the case of Twisted, well, goodbye Flash, but in the case of Twisted and Myth, they only have 2 left, so the big heavy hitter is going to be these EMEA squads trying to secure their edges of the circle, kitty corner from each other. Gedrock's going to be chilling in the middle in a vehicle. Is that BRDM?
Maybe, I don't know. So, easy way to look at it. To the north, Na'Vi strong. To the south, VP strong. And then to the east, the west, and the center, it's just going to be a spattering of solos trying to survive. Myth with their duo up. Do get some vision onto Luke Rux, get the knock onto him. If anything, that might be just drawing a little bit more of an aggressive position, as Baron also does spot out Perfectix, finishes him out. Twisted just can't seem to find a way to make that one work.
Dude, look what they're doing. They're just out there on their own. They have so much confidence in their individual ability that they're taking fights against 2 different teams. Kiss is taking on all of VP by himself. Now, granted, he has the luxury of being a bit higher than them and has some cover from the crates, whereas Baron just swept over, finish off the remnants of Twisted Minds, and is now looking to regroup with his teammate. And there's going to be quite a bit of util here for Kiss to work with. A couple frags in the bag.
This is weird. We've got a reverse situation where all the teams are now playing low ground because we're only in phase 6 with only 5 teams alive. It's just brutal shifts have caused destruction to the lobby. So Myth is our high ground team as a duo, and that's going to be about all she wrote. So that's him finally going to get spotted. So we're in our top 4. But it's north versus south with Na'Vi and VP. Myth getting involved in Gedrox. Yeah, there it is. There's the BRDM. We finally got close enough to see it.
Yeah, it's kind of what I figured it was, considering he was just sitting in a vehicle in the middle of the circle. I'm like, surely that's a BRDM, right? Like, somebody would have knocked you out of the window by now. And absolutely Kiss looking to just tag that vehicle up. Doesn't want that to be a threat in the later stages of the game. Still going to have to put some fire down, but VP very aware of it, returning. What in the world is that? Ferris just hit a double mortar onto VP.
And that is their split section, too. That's going to be a big problem. Myth still has the high ground. Gedrock's actually going to roam over here. Is he going to try to flush those out by running them over? Mortar's on the chase. Nope, they're going to go ahead and pick him up first. Sorry, Gedrox, you're denied. But you run right into it! Gedrox, no!
Oh, no way. That is such bad luck. There was still one more mortar coming. Baron finds Nixie, and all of a sudden Virtus Pro, who had been playing this so well, is done in by Ferris Mortar plus a few other kind of weird circumstances. They're going to try to hang on. One player left, and they almost had Beamy dialed in. That was just a little bit to Beamy's left.
Oh, VP in first place, but man, it has just turned terrible. Myth now running down on top of him. The Vultures are circling. Beamy, what you got? Nade prepped up. Can he manage to drop it in the right spot? Does get the knock on to Baron. So Kiss now just over here, I think just trying to find loot more than anything else.
Could be, yeah. I mean, he's just trying to get this point where he can. Can't do it, though. And that should be the end. Oh, that grenade bounced too far. I mean, this should be Na'Vi's win right here, right now.
Yeah, Beamy down too low. He's going to go ahead and finish it himself. And that is going to be Na'Vi. Control of the North pays off. But really, mortar plays, man. Woo, that was cruel.
That was a nasty one from Ferris, getting 2 for 1. That's huge in that moment because it completely cuts the feet out underneath the team that's going to be the biggest threat to you. To Virtus Pro's credit, they're hanging on. They're fighting tooth and nail. They're going to be in first place after this game. So they're playing really, really nicely, but that's going to be a little bit frustrating. They had a good look at the win, just couldn't get there.
And poor Gedrox, man. He thought he was going to try to go over there, maybe run somebody over, but who expects the 5th and the 6th mortars to follow through? I mean, you had to maybe expect that they would go for the flushes with it, but he knew. There's no nice way to say it. He was screwed. He knew he was screwed.
Yes.
He knew he was probably going to die soon.
He wanted those points.
He wanted to try for something. It's a weird timing situation that kind of fell out that way. So, but I respect what he was trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I don't like to use this word often in esports, but that one was a little unlucky. Unlucky. I mean, it's the right idea. It's a good play. Just a little bit mistimed. So, yeah, still a little bit for Twisted. They're not having the best day, but gosh darn it, they're in 5th place.
They're not having a bad day.
No.
It's just like, okay, so they had a great position, high ground inside that circle over into the northeast. But at 17 kind of runs up and wrecks their day, kind of causes some issues. Third, fourth party kind of comes into effect there. This is a very angry lobby. They will not let anybody just fight one squad versus another squad. It's going to be multiple teams seeing if they can vulture anything that they can get.
Yeah, I mean, T1 there just fell apart because of that early play from Liquid that cascaded into kind of bad situation after bad situation where other teams were happy to try to capitalize on their positioning that they had to go for to try to go for those revives. But here at the end, bgmi just barely hangs on. Kiss is trying to come up and over that lip. There's kind of a weird moment there where
no one kills bgmi but bgmi.
Yeah, bgmi's just like, nope, I'm not going to give you this point if I can help it, and he does not. That's smart.
But that's a mark of respect, right? Denying out a point from Na'Vi, anything that you could potentially deny from them because they always loom large. Well, we've got Kalaris set with an interview down on the stage. Let's see what's got going on over there.
That's right, thank you, boys. Yes, I'm here with Lucarux from Virtus.pro after a good 2 games here to get things rolling for the final. Lucarux, let's talk about the first game. You getting into that late game circle, holding the cliff for a long time on the south side of Erangel, up against the Vicious as well as T1. What was your guys' thought process going up against those teams and how you were trying to potentially counter their positions?
I mean, we did a really good rotation. Zone 2, we got in a good spot, and then we got a zone. And then in the end, like it was against T1 Vicious, and I think GK was alive. And in our heads, we saw that T1 has the best position, so they're obviously gonna win the game. And we had like bad loot that game, and we just went to play for second place to kill GK and Vicious.
Okay, it did look like that, so that's actually really good for the clarification. Thank you. And into game 2 here, obviously you're having to play Edge for a long time over on that western side after the shift goes away from the south of Hosan. What was the biggest hurdles, the biggest difficulties you had in game 2 there?
I mean, when we played the group stage, we had a few bad things with Mortar. We learned from that, and we, like in this game, we just used what we thought about. We just use it, we kill people in the holes in mortars, and that's it. We just played through and just killed everyone.
All right, well, thank you very much. A great start for Virtus.pro here to get things going. Thank you very much, Lucarux. And that does it from here, down on the stage.
Everyone is playing, you're not yet. EWC Play is your all-in-one platform to compete in fantasy, pick'em, and quests for a grand total of $300,000 in prize pool. Build your dream fantasy team in 5 different games and track your score with live results tables. Predict the winner of every game, every group stage, and every tournament. Complete daily and weekly challenges to earn boosters that help you climb the global leaderboard. Got what it takes? Join EWC Play now.
Who do you think would win in a fight between a polar bear and a moose?
Polar bear.
What about a polar bear and a shark?
Polar bear.
Okay, what about a polar bear and a T-Rex?
Ooh, polar bear.
I feel like you're not taking this seriously.
Polar bear.
Okay, fair enough.
What about a polar bear in first place? Because right now, for VP, that is back-to-back second place finishes as Na'Vi is able to come up with a win.
Polar bear.
Oh,
polar bear. Look, I was going to say a polar bear versus a mortar. And that didn't really pan out too well, except for bgmi, who was only the last remaining survivor from that. But I mean, VP had such an exceptional rotate from the north side. They were looking in like a winning position. Even Na'Vi was more on, I guess, the eastern side there. So these two teams were sort of having their nice way into that sort of pick. But, you know, they did sort of move further south into that. And unfortunately, you know, didn't really get to hold on too well. But I mean, bgmi was like that survivor against that god crazy attack.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you how good VP is when they're playing their game, right? We heard Lucarux talk about it. Look, we had a great rotation. We knew that was our timing. We got in the spot. Hey, our gear wasn't great. We knew T1 was going to win that game, so we just made sure to push Vicious and Geeke to make sure that we got second place. That type of decision-making is what makes a team like VP so difficult to beat when they're playing their A game.
I mean, it did make them great at getting their points. It also opened the door for Na'Vi to sort of find themselves the first sort of jump start into that end game, opened up some space for them, and let them get a couple of extra kills. So VP totally made the right choice. And then as we get to this, you see Ferris